Hello dear listeners, you are hearing from Debaruti Dev, faculty of the Department of Management Studies, Salesian College, Siliguri campus. I am dealing today with the part 2 of the security environment concept or the chapter in e-commerce of BBA 4th SEM. That day I had talked about the different concepts of the security environment, the vulnerabilities present in there and the ways to make your e-commerce secure. Today I am going to talk about the different type of threats that are posed by the hackers and the ways that they try to hack out or to loot the information or the personal information which are important from the customers. Not only from the customers but also from the e-commerce owners. They try to steal on the information so that they can use it for malicious activities. Now I'm starting with the different types of threats that the hacker can charge. The first type of threat is about tricking the shopper. A term known as social engineering techniques is used to perform the easiest and most profitable attacks. It is based on tricking the shopper or user. It involves accessing the shopper's behavior and gathers enough information to use against him or her. Another common form of social engineering attacks are called phishing schemes or typo pirates play here on the names of famous sites to collect authentication and registration information. For example, a particular website www.ibm.com/shop is registered by the attacker as www.ibn.com/shop. So there is a difference between the M and the N. Though a shopper's mistypes, suppose the shopper mistypes and enters the illegitimate site and provides confidential information. Alternatively, the attacker sends emails spoofed to look like they came from legitimate sites. The link inside the email maps to a rogue site that collects the information. If you log in mistakenly if you type mistakenly the website www.ibn.com instead of ibm.com. So that's the trick that the hackers can place in front of the shoppers. Next type of hacking can be sneaking into the shopper's computer. Nowadays we have several computers added to the internet daily, and most of these computer users have average knowledge about the security issues that they may fall into. Moreover, hardware and software vendors basically disable the security features in their products in order to increase the compatibility with other products, and many computer users do not attempt to check the security features before starting to use these softwares in their computer. They rely greatly on these software and hardware vendors who unfortunately are more focused on increasing their sales and profits and not on the security of the shoppers. So that this is kind of a great news for the attackers, as they can easily perform their all mischievous acts. Thus, attackers can easily gain access to the shoppers or users' computer by using programs to scan their port and finally detect an entry point and gain access to the user's system. Personal information such as passwords can easily be retrieved in this way. Third type of threats that can come from the hackers are sniffing inside the network. This is where the attacker will monitor regularly the data that is sent to and from the user's computer and also the server. The attacker will therefore be able to collect data about the user or steals personal information such as credit card numbers and the debit card details. Data is split into packets here and leave the user's computer and is reconstructed at the server side. These packets actually travel through various different routes in order to reach its destination. Therefore, it is very difficult for the attacker to access all the packets of a request and ultimately cannot decipher what message was sent. A good example would be a shopper in Toronto, for example, purchasing goods from a store placed in California. Some packets for a request are routed through the New York, where others are routed through the Chicago. A more practical location for this attack is near the shopper's computer or the server. Wireless hubs make attacks on the shopper's computer network, and the better choice because most wireless hubs are shipped with security features being disabled. This allows an attacker to easily scan unencrypted traffic from the user's computer. Next type of threat is password guessing. Password guessing is another way that attacker can use. This is a manual or automated style of attack. Using the manual way, password guessing is more difficult and takes much time, but it is only successful if the attacker has a hint about the password or knows something about the user. It has been seen normally that any of the family members or friends who are close to the shoppers can pose this type of threat because they know a lot of information about the shoppers. Next type of thing is the denial of the service attacks. The denial of service attack is one of the best example of impacting the site availability. In a regular connection, a user sends a message to a server requesting the authentication. The server then sends back the authentication approval to the user. The user then acknowledges the received approval and finally is allowed to access into the server. In a denial of service attack, the user sends many messages to the server requesting the authentication. The server has a queue of authentication requests to deal with. All the authentication requests sent have false return addresses, and the server cannot find recipients to send authentication approvals. The server thus enters in a wait state about a minute or so, and if nothing happens, it automatically closes all the connection. When the server closes the connection, the attacker sends a new batch of fake information or authentication requests again, and the process starts again and making the service unavailable or entering a wait state again and again. An example of it can be if everyone in a large meeting asks your name all at the same time, and every time you answer again they go for a query again. You have experienced a personal denial of service attack here. To ask a computer its name, you use ping. You use this ping to build an effective DOS attack. The smart hacker gets the server to use more computational resources in processing the request than the adversary does in generating the request. Next type of threat that I am going to discuss now is using bugs found on the servers. The attacker can use any bugs present on a server by analyzing where defects are available on a particular server or not. With millions of servers online nowadays, the probability for a system administrator to forget to apply a patch is very high. Thus, the attacker can find what patches were created for a particular software, devise a way thus to exploit a system without the patch easily. He may proceed to try each of the exploits. The sophisticated attacker finds a weakness in a similar type of software and tries to use that to exploit the system, thus gathering all the information about the website owner as well as the shopper. Last type of threat that I am going to put to now is using server root exploits. This exploit is when the attacker gains super user access to the server. If this attack is successful, the attacker gains infinite possibilities. This is because if a user is attacked, it is only one computer that has been exploited, thus affecting only one individual at that time. With a root exploit on the server, the attacker gains access to all the information of the merchants as well as those of the users or the shoppers. There's a lottery for the hackers. So these are some of the hacking styles that are posed by the so-called hackers online. Now, if there are threats, there has to be some defense mechanisms, and we call it solutions to the hacking activities by the hackers. Even with the existence of computer attackers or hackers, the activities taking place online is increasing in numbers, inclusive of obviously the e-commerce activities. This is because many large companies are involved in e-commerce activities, and they will take any legal actions to protect their their customers. The legal law relating to the Income Tax Act 2000 is there to help the site owners or the sellers who are selling online to use all their protective mechanism in order to protect the rights and information of the customers. Now, it is very important to make the users be aware that their system will be secured as long as they know how to make their system become secure or how to keep their system secure. Education is the best way to ensure that your customers take appropriate precautions, which are many in number, but I am going to discuss few of them, maybe 4 or 5. First one is the education. If a shopper chooses a weak password or does not keep their password confidential, then an attacker can pose as that user. This is significant if the compromised password belongs to an administrator of the system. In this case, there is likely physical security involved because the administrator client may not be exposed outside the firewall. Users need to use good judgment when giving out their information online and be educated totally about possible phishing schemes and other social engineering attacks available on the web. Second is use of personal firewalls. When your computer is connected to your network, it becomes prone to attacks. To protect your computer against all attacks, a personal firewall can be used, and this will limit the types of traffic initiated by and directed to the computer of the user. The intruder can also scan the hard drive to detect any stored passwords. This will help them stay protected against all hacking activities on the web, and they don't have to always seek the help of the owners to protect their own vulnerabilities. Third type of security mechanism or the defense mechanism is the use of secure socket layer, or abbreviated as SSL. SSL is a protocol that encrypts data which is transmitted between the user's computer and the site server. When an SSL protected page is requested, the browser identifies the server as a trusted entity and initiates a handshake to pass the encryption key information back and forth. Now, on subsequent requests to the server, the information flowing back and forth is encrypted so that a hacker sniffing the network cannot read the contents on their own. The SSL certificate is issued to the server by a certificate authority authorized by the government. When a request is made from the shopper's browser to the site server using the HTTPS, the shopper's browser checks if this site has a certificate it can recognize. If the site is not recognized by a trusted certificate authority, then the browser uses a warning. So thus it can be easily checked whether that request is authenticate or not, and thus necessary actions can be taken. Next is server firewalls. A firewall function is to make sure that the request can only enter the system from specified ports, and in some cases ensures that all accesses are only from certain physical machines. A demilitarized zone, or DMZ, can be set up using two firewalls. One firewall, which will form an external firewall, will have ports open to allow ingoing and outgoing HTTP requests. This allows the client browser to communicate with the server only. A second firewall sits behind the e-commerce servers. This firewall is heavily fortified and only requests from trusted servers on specific ports are allowed through. Both firewalls use intrusion detection software to detect any unauthorized access attempts on the line. Then there are certain password policies provided by the FIPS, and this is the policy is actually defined as a part of the FIPS, or Federal Information Processing Standard, and there are certain protocols that you have to follow while you are setting the password, and if you are doing that only, you can make sure that your transactions are going to be secure, such as if your lockout threshold, if you want to measure, such as how many times you can put the wrong password, it is limited to 6 attempts only. Then consecutive unsuccessful login delay can only be up to 10 seconds. Then matching user ID and password, the they cannot obviously match. So this along with this, a few more mandatory things are there where you are setting the password, and it is with respect to the policies. That's why you get all the notifications to set a password which is too strong and preferably consisting of alphabets, digits and some special characters. So these are certain defense mechanisms which are available for the people who are transacting online in their everyday lifestyles. So if they follow all these mechanisms, both on the part of the owner of the site or as well as the shoppers or the customers or the users. So in both the ends, if all these defense mechanisms can be followed thoroughly, then the entire system will be less prone to any type of vulnerabilities or threats posed by the hackers. So that's all, and next day when I come back with taking the e-commerce subject, I will try to focus on the unit 3 of BBA 4th sem, the CBCS system. So thank you for listening. Bye bye.
This and other episodes of Radio EduPods, Radio for Learning, are available on Listen to My Radio app at 6 p.m. from Monday to Friday and at 6 a.m. from Tuesday to Saturday. All episodes are available on Salesian TV YouTube channel. Share, like and subscribe Salesian TV, the ultimate learning resource channel.